Oh, welcome to the theater, pal. You're from the neighborhood Master Chaos, back with you once again. It's good to see you. You're looking well. Hey, I like that t-shirt. I've got a seat saved for you. Why don't you dump your junk in there and let's talk Vinegar Syndrome August 2021 package. Today, we're going 4K, okay? Yes, we're talking Terminal Island. I don't know if you have your hands on this yet, but I'm going to give you my honest, brazen thoughts on this female-directed women and men in prison thriller. Terminal Island, directed by Stephanie Rothman, is essentially a women in prison movie set on an island. It's equal parts Escape from New York, and I wouldn't doubt if this movie inspired elements in Escape from New York, but it's also equal parts Big Bird Cage and those kind of Roger Corman-esque, exploitation, women in prison, girls in short shorts, Daisy Duke type movies of this era. Is it better than some of those movies? Whether it's better or not, of course, is going to come down to personal taste. And it's been a while since I've seen a lot of those movies. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of those movies, but I do enjoy good filmmaking. And Terminal Island is good filmmaking. Beautiful slip as always. Vinegar Syndrome always delivers the goods when it comes to slips, even if, they're trying to trick you sometimes. The 4K here is fantastic. Now, I've never seen this movie, but I can imagine, being a movie from, what the hell year is this, 1973, that it's gonna look the best it has ever fucking looked on this 4K. And it does. The colors pop, it's very crisp, it's a gorgeous looking picture. So kudos, the 4K definitely does get paid off, and it does pay off quite well. It's a gorgeous looking movie. Did it need 4K? That's another discussion. My answer is probably no, it didn't need it, but we have it, so there we are. You do get a Blu-ray with it. Keep this in mind. All the special features are on the Blu-ray only. Carmen Sims has been sentenced to life on Terminal Island, an island in the middle of nowhere where a whole bunch of criminals have been sentenced to live for the remainder of their life. That's not only their sentence, but just sort of their big punishment. You have to live on this island now forever, which is actually not that bad. I mean, it's a nice island. You get a little vacation, you get the beach, and you don't have guards telling you what to do. You basically make your own rules. I think the only drawback is there's no housing, so everybody's living out of huts and stuff like that, which doesn't really make a lot of sense in the grand scheme of things. But I'm not going to nitpick the movie's logic because, well, that would be pointless. Carmen is sent to this island prison. There's only, I think, 40 other convicts on there for some reason. So maybe it's new. I guess it's a new thing. I don't know. Anyway, Carmen is a tough young woman, and she's not going to take anybody's shit. But she quickly realizes that women there are a hot commodity, and they're really only there for the pleasure and the whims and excesses of the male convicts. The good news, and I think this is a positive, although some people might disagree. There's no rape in this movie. There is some abuse early on when Carmen comes to the main camp, and she gets brutalized by this big, black dude who's kind of like the enforcer of the camp. And it's a pretty hard scene to watch, but she's not sexually molested. She's just kind of like beat up a little bit, and nobody comes to help her. And it's kind of a hard scene to watch. I remember watching it and thinking, shit, man, this movie's going to be unpleasant. Luckily, it wasn't. And I think it's because, I know it's because it was directed by a woman, and so you get a female perspective on this. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. I think good thing because we're getting a unique perspective when it comes to the woman in prison genre. But the bad thing is, just like I mentioned in my review of Auntie Lee's Meat Pies, this month continues its Blue Balls status. When you come in to a women in prison movie, you expect a certain amount of titillation, for lack of a better word. I don't want to be indelicate, but you know what I mean. You expect a certain amount of titillation. There's some lovely ladies in this. And the movie pulls its punches in that department. We don't get a lot of nudity in this movie. As a matter of fact, the trailer has more nudity than this movie.
Bullshit. That's how I feel. Total fucking bullshit.
There is nudity, but it's very brief. But I think it's used effectively for the most part. There's one character in here that's sort of the most abused girl, and she's gone mute. You see her naked the most. But again, she's not the most ample of bosomed women. And when that scene happens, it's so icky and weird that we're not like, oh yeah, look at that girl, oh, delicious. You know what I mean? So it's almost like Stephanie Rothman is playing against those conventions, and kudos to her for delivering something unique. And the movie is unique. So let's look past the nudity, because it's going to, it's not going to color this review, because I think the movie stands out on its own. Whereas Auntie Lee's Meat Pies didn't really offer anything else, Terminal Island offers a really great, engrossing story, competent acting, an early turn by Tom Selleck, who is unrecognizable. I didn't really realize it was Tom Selleck until he started talking. He does a good job here. He does a really good job here playing sort of a disgraced doctor who joins the rebels in the camp. What you have here is essentially Lord of the Flies, one group of convicts versus another group of convicts for domination of Terminal Island. Something I really liked about the movie is that it's very unpredictable. It's a movie that overall is a satisfying experience, and it looks great on 4K, but I'm hard pressed as to whether I should recommend it.
What? No.
I really don't think I can recommend it. Now this is kind of a strange review. I get it, because I've just talked the movie up and I had a good time watching it. But the problem with the August movies, the August 2021 movies, is that I feel they don't really do much, and I don't know if they have the rewatchability. Will I ever watch Terminal Island again? Probably, but not anytime soon. This is not something I'd pull off the shelf and go, oh, guys, we gotta watch Terminal Island. It's okay. It's competently made. I enjoyed myself watching it, but I don't know that I'd ever rewatch it. And rewatchability is a big thing for me. If you know me by now, you know rewatchability is big with me. And Terminal Island is just okay. Again, it's one of those movies where it's, wow, really well made, but I don't know that I ever want to go on this journey again. And here's the problem with Vinegar Syndrome. And I've noticed this, and I think we've all sort of picked up on this. Maybe, I don't know if it's been addressed in the past. It probably has. But their whole thing is, oh, video store, lost gems from the video store era. You know what's different about this compared to the video store era? I could rent this for $2 and give it back. Now I have to, I'm a subscriber, but essentially pay $35 or whatever the hell it is for this and keep it forever. That's different rules, man. So when I say I can't recommend it, I'm telling you, I don't think you need to own this. And that's the trap that Vinegar Syndrome movies fall into. Yes, they're the lost video store era. They're bringing back those movies you would find on the shelf and go, holy shit, that cover looks awesome, let me rent it. With one big caveat, you don't rent these movies, and you don't pay $2, and you don't have to return it tomorrow, or pay a late fee. You pay $35, and it's yours forever. So we have to be careful. We have to be more aware of what we're spending our money on. I have to be aware of what you're spending your money on. I pride myself on being the guy on YouTube who tells you flat out whether it's worth your money or not, because that's important. I'm not reviewing the movie itself. I'm reviewing the worth of the movie. While I think it's a good movie, it's worth a watch, I don't think you need it on your shelf. And I hate to say that because I did enjoy the movie, but it comes at such a steep price that I don't know whether your enjoyment will be worth the investment. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I hope you understand what I mean by that. Terminal Island's going to get 2 stars from me. It looks great picture quality. If you have it already, I think you're going to dig it. It's a solid little movie. It's really well done. Don't go in expecting, a Ciro Santiago type of super heavy exploitation movie. This isn't Raw Force 2. This isn't Big Bird Cage. You're going to go in getting a pretty competently made little survival movie with a really surprising third act. And that's it. And a good looking picture. Special features include, on the Blu-ray, by the way, again, an interview with Stephanie Rothman, a really great interview. She charts her whole career. It's about 30 minutes. I do highly recommend that. She talks about this movie the most. Then you get an appreciation of her work from Alicia Cosma and another journalist. And I would skip that because they basically go over the same material that Stephanie went over. So hear it from the horse's mouth, for lack of a better word. I hope I didn't lose you as a subscriber, pal. You do have to understand, sometimes reviewing a movie is very, very tricky, especially when I'm keeping my audience in mind, keeping the consumer in mind. And I want to make sure that when I vouch for something, I vouch for it in a way that I think they're gonna get value out of this. They're really good. There's elements in here that I think everyone will enjoy. 4-quadrant type movie, if I can use the Hollywood term. I want to make sure that it ticks all the boxes. But again, it falls on that weird dividing line. If it is a perfect video store movie where you watch it, you like it, you give it back. You don't need it on your shelf, and you didn't pay nearly $40 for it. Anyway, time to close the theater down. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing that time with me. If you're new here and you like this kind of content and discussion, I love talking about movies. I'd love to spend more time with you. Do subscribe. Drop me a thumbs up on your way out the door, my friend. It's really, really a pleasure to have your ear and share my thoughts. Now it's your turn. Two-way conversation always here on Master Chaos Theater. Did you like the movie? Did you hate it? Are you planning on getting it now? Do you think you'll pass? I'm curious. Two-way conversation always. I want to hear your opinion because it's just as important, if not more, than mine.
You're goddamn right.
Okay, time to pull the curtain across the silver screen here. Remember, you always have a seat saved here. And I hope to see you again. But the theater is closed for now.